finals of an ESL Open Cup. This one was Korea number 158. We do have the top left of Gresvan to start us off in this series. This is going to be RagnaroK. In the bottom right, Sidestone Gaming's GuMiho. I feel like I didn't catch any GuMiho recently. I was a fan of watching some GuMiho games and everything, so I kind of sad to when we don't get to catch him, but yeah, obviously we're going to get to watch him now. It's just been a little while, that's all. Not in a bad way or anything, just, yeah, usually we see a lot of GuMiho, honestly, and like I said, just maybe been a little bit since I've got to catch some Gumi games, so he goes for already a pool first from RagnaroK, so he's already opening in a very fun way. Pool first, very intriguing. We'll see what he does with it. Obviously, Gresvan's kind of a larger macro kind of map, so I'd be sort of surprised if he was to bring the pressure and to really try and create a big fight and stuff. I would feel like that would be kind of surprising, but yes, we will find out. And 6 lanes start up, now taking the gas. So pool early, then the hatch, then the gas. Getting that up and running. And away we go. Prints in the back are awesome. The prints are all from the Blizzard gear store. They probably aren't sold anymore, but that's where they're from. They're all just official Blizzard prints that you could buy on, like I say, the Blizzard store. You can find stuff like this every now and again on the Blizzard store. Like, they do add stuff like that back a lot of the time, honestly, so you might be able to keep an eye if you're interested in them. But that's where they're from. It's kind of funny because a lot of people always ask me as well, like, a lot of the time, like, when I go to events, like, whoa, Wardy, that's such a cool StarCraft hoodie. Where do you get that from? I'm like, the Blizzard store. Like, like, the people that made this game actually just sell some amount of merch. I know it's surprising, there's not a lot of reasons to check that, but it's actually worth checking every now and again. At least have a look, You see the lanes are pretty quick, pretty good to get in and to actually just be annoying, right? I mean, that's exactly what they're going to be, just annoying early in this game here. Come straight through, get up and in your face, and yeah, make your life a little bit more miserable than you probably would have liked it to have been early here. As GuMiho, so 3 SCVs go down. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's an investment to get to this point in the first place as RagnaroK, but I feel like that absolutely makes this a worthwhile investment, no? It's a lot of damage dealt pretty much straight away. Like I said, I feel like you've got to be pretty happy about how this all starts out, so pretty nice start in that regard. Just going to be seeing our link speed now on the way up, so bringing that through. And this Reaper coming across the map to try and keep an eye on what else is happening, which so far is not really a whole bunch of anything, so keeping that up and running. Now creep spread continues to push out over to the sides. And just going to be seeing the Reaper hopping back down from the high ground, back to the low ground. Just going to go after this hatchery for a few moments, so a little bit more damage being dealt here. Hatchery starting to fall. That's going to be seeing our Ling's coming up, our Queen's coming up, our Viking on the way. I'm just going to be seeing the couple of extra LCVs being produced as well. Everything's kind of still going kind of the rate at which you'd kind of expect it to right now, I'd say, right? Nothing really overly crazy starting itself here. We do have our Cloak Banshees coming up from GuMiho's trying to get protected. We obviously got to see a little bit of got to see the 2 games of RagnaroK against Kira in this match and in this tournament, and RagnaroK played some Link Bane meter stuff. Obviously, the one thing about GuMiho is you never know quite what GuMiho's going to bring, although he has been pretty consistently playing Bio in this matchup. I know a lot of people like GuMiho mech, and the changes may be good for mech, but GuMiho's actually been a very consistent Bio player in this matchup for the majority of the time since he returned. I say this in the one game, he's now going to drop double gas, and maybe he is going to play some mech. I guess to my defense, if I'd continued talking before I really made the call, I might have said that GuMiho does sometimes play mech on the biggest of maps, and especially in longer series, and this is going to be one of those bigger maps, and well, potentially a longer series right with the best of 5. So he will start out with mech here in game number 1. And we'll see if RagnaroK can deal with that, see if that's something he can do well against, or what is going to happen. CC just going to move out over to the sides. Swap things out a little bit here. I'm just going to be seeing the Feelings and Roaches making their ways across the map. So the Banshee's going to be very good defensively here, so we're going to see that for the next few moments. Just going to get these Banshees going for those Ravagers, trying to do anything they can to clean those up, and doing a pretty good job of it, if I do say so myself. Starting out at least. Now, Lings want to stream in after the Hellions go down ideally, although for the moment we'll just be seeing the Hellions having to pull back. The Lings did start to come in. Hellions still alive, but 8 SCVs down, so GuMiho's taking some pretty serious damage on this natural. Not looking great for him right away here. Definitely not looking great. Just going to be seeing the Lings actually going to go after that armory as well. Remember, we are playing mech though, so if we can just survive, we could probably turn this into something of a reasonable position. SCV's going down. We do have the double armory build, and we have got Macfield well on the way as well, by the way. And that Spire producing on the side of RagnaroK. So getting the Spire up and running, Roaches are still producing, Overseer coming in. A lot of investments being made here on both sides, really. I mean, interesting. Obviously, whenever you play mech and you don't play the battle cruisers, it's been a big question mark for TvZ as of late because, well, you know, mech, BCs, they kind of go hand in hand. The BCs do so much for the mech play to be successful. I'm just going to see our two Banshees make their way down to the bottom right side. We see now 1-1 upgrades coming through with the vehicle plate and vehicle weapons. Still getting those cyclones coming out as well. All of that's still being brought into play. 8 more Mutalisks being produced right now too, so we're getting into the Mutas actually as a way to deal with this kind of mech play. I guess that's kind of what you have to expect from the Spire, right? When there wasn't BCs, so there wasn't need for Corruptors. So that's definitely intriguing. Mutas are going to be the choice. I'm just going to see these Hellions and Cyclones pushing forward, getting rid of a little bit more of the group spread at the moment. Just pushing our way through for now. Away we go. Station pit coming on the line. We are going to look for some future tech here, which is pretty much always essential against mech as well, right? You cannot play a low-tech game against mech generally. Like, even if you try to and you do a good job of, like, staying active and keeping the economy low of the mech player, eventually you just don't have an army you can really contest in the slightest. So, yeah, definitely something that needs to be looked into a lot of the time and thought about. As you see, the Mutas showing up for the first time. We'll get rid of, what, 6 STVs. Getting turned around pretty quickly, though, and GuMiho needs a defense like that, right? Quick, effective, pushes it back, you know, almost straight away. Because if he doesn't push it back that quickly, he ends up in a lot of trouble here, I think. Because he's already kind of a little bit behind from the earlier damage. And he's actually going to clean up a bunch of the Mutas now as well, thanks to the Thors. This actually works really well for GuMiho. He's going to clean up a lot of this pressure, and it's kind of a whole investment where, you know, RagnaroK could have maxed out and just attacked with everything and tried to break GuMiho. Instead, he tried to play the Mutas, and then maybe we'll try and attack after, but the Mutas didn't really do enough to justify that cost. So it gives GuMiho a chance to survive. It gives GuMiho a fighting chance in this game that otherwise wasn't really, like I say, looking great for him or anything to start out with. He's moved back around the side, going to try and get rid of a few of these Hellions again. Melee upgrade, missile upgrade, Banelin speed all on the way out. Just going to be seeing the Lings and the Ravagers knocking through. A set of rocks over here is just going to open that up. Once you open this map, large map anyways, and just more access points for Zerg is typically going to be good for you, so I'm going to set up for exactly that right now. Aliens pull back, Banshees gather together, just going to be seeing our CC lift off, move over to the right side, Ling, Bane, Ravager, all collecting together in the center, and just going to be seeing GuMiho just pushing up onto the creep. These Hellions just trying to see what they can do. Will probably be caught here though, so that's not going to go great. All of these Hellions in trouble. Corrosive Files coming in. Hellbat's being knocked down. Some big losses there, as we do have a CC going back along. We've seen a couple of Banshees coming through, getting some shots off, trying to just clean up a few units that are moving around here and there. As we do otherwise see the defense of GuMiho pretty well spread. This is the benefit of this map. A lot of base you can take easily. Then you take that forward base as well, which is not too much of a stretch forward, so you put yourself in a pretty good place with that as well. Just going to be seeing a few Ravagers corrosive viling down this set of rocks. It looks as though RagnaroK's ready to try and make another little bit of a move here in the next few moments, so looking to try and succeed with this. We just do have our attack in, so let's see if he can do enough damage with this. Let's see if he can succeed. He's going to move straight on forwards. It's going to be seeing the Banelins crashing through the front door. The depot is immediately going down. 8 SCVs, 10 SCVs being picked off. Lings continue through. They're getting wrecked by these tanks, honestly. They're not really standing up very strong at all. Cyclone moves forward, and that's going to get picked off here as well, so also not exactly ideal. And this is going to be seeing the Banshees helping to, again, play the cleanup for the moment. Just for now, our Corruptors keep coming up at plus Drain Local Lands, +2 missiles, and melee upgrades continuing as well. Pull back away, just going to be seeing the +3 vehicle weapons coming up. Hellions are still producing. So far, so good for GuMiho. He's alive, right? I think, considering how this game started, just being alive at all as GuMiho is something of a victory already. Something you can be pretty happy with. Come across, let the Liberator shot or so. Just coming through quickly. It's going to be seeing the... Again, at some point GuMiho will want to be pushing forwards here, I imagine. And making a play into that just a little bit further forward position, right? I have to, I guess, imagine a little bit of here, so... Kind of waiting on that to come through. Just going to be seeing another big burst right now, so in we go. Let's see how well we can do with this. Going to be seeing a lot of Banelins. Honestly, not a lot of SCVs going down, though, which I suppose is in part what I'm maybe most surprised about for now. I thought we'd see a few more... Yeah, I thought we'd see a few more SCVs going down, but GuMiho's been able to protect well, and it's going to be a pretty big loss for RagnaroK. I mean, you can see the supplies dropping heavily. GuMiho, yeah, is able to stay pretty steady on supply, which is important for him, because obviously, as he rebuilds here, he obviously gets into this sort of position where, yeah, he kind of gets into this position where he has to do what he can in terms of just surviving, but then RagnaroK can rebuild instantly and he can get ready to go again. I imagine that's going to be very important in these next few moments. So let's see if RagnaroK can go again, see if he can make something happen with all of this. What exactly is going to happen very soon. Armory's working away. RagnaroK is kind of just, again, going into more of what we've already seen from him. Just kind of building more of the same stuff, sort of saying, like, hey, look, like, at the end of the day right now, I'm just trying to, you know, break you down. I'm going to get ultras this time. It's a little bit different, I guess. But otherwise, the concept is the same. Bust you down, do well enough with that, and just kind of take a nice, strong position from there in general. So I'm going to make a little bit of a move with that in mind. It's going to be seen Ravages here trying to knock down this base, and this base taking quite a bit of damage, right? I mean, you know, forced to actually be killed, so it has to be replaced. We do get this forward base as GuMiho, and he is working towards potentially the upper right base as well. I think that's one he could hold pretty safely. Again, RagnaroK has to rebuild after this, but he doesn't actually immediately have the money to necessarily rebuild with, so that's going to be a bit of a problem for him as well. Something else to be just again taken into consideration here for the most part is things again a little bit wild in this best of 5 already. Game 1, like I said, GuMiho's kind of trailed all game. It's just been a question of will he ever be able to kind of get back on track, and well, so far, yeah, like I say, he's surviving. I guess the question becomes, what does GuMiho do to actually start winning this game? You know, when does he start making the next play here to actually put himself into a way better position than what he's in now? I think that's going to be the next issue, basically. I don't see what he's going to do in that regard anytime soon at all. So, yeah, a little bit of an interesting question, to be honest. We're just going to be seeing. I guess he just kind of plays the waiting game, right? He just keeps defending, and he just sort of, more so than anything, just hopes that RagnaroK messes up, that RagnaroK gets a little bit too aggressive. You know, takes a couple of fights that are not really what they should have been, and then just hopes he can win it from there. I mean, that sounds obviously a little bit hopeless. It's like, well, you're kind of hoping your opponent makes mistakes, but in a game like this, I think sometimes you just have to do that, right? Because, especially when you're playing Mech doesn't have a ton of aggressive options. You can maybe run some Hellions around, you can make it difficult for RagnaroK to kind of keep up in the game by killing Hellions, but then you're still hoping that he trades badly enough that he throws away a lot of the advantage he's had throughout this game. I was kind of thinking before, I was like, well, RagnaroK's kind of running out of gas, and so I was kind of tempted to say that maybe that is the beginning of that sort of concept of, hey, RagnaroK kind of messed up a little bit, right? So, yeah, some interesting stuff here, guys. Some interesting stuff going on for sure as we just have ourselves lingering Ravager moving along. And it's going to come in. I mean, feels like we've seen this base under attack 1,000 times at this point. I mean, push it away. This base still not really just been allowed to mine comfortably at all, which obviously makes sense. You don't want to make it comfortable to mine. You want to make it as difficult as possible to mine, so totally understandable. Just obviously frustrating for GuMiho, who does really just want to get back on track with this expansion. If he could keep this expansion alive, he actually might just be okay for the game. For at least a foreseeable future. Resources lost is worth looking at here. 10,000 difference favoring GuMiho, so that's obviously a pretty big factor. It's something that definitely goes a long way. As these few Vikings come in, they chase the Corruptors back. And a few throws of bars going down as well. Just doing some damage here and there, so a little bit going on for the moment. Thor firing up a storm, just going to go in towards those Ravagers, which are going to get rid of a siege tank, so just going to knock a little bit of something down there at the very least, so a little bit of progress being made, but not really too much at the end of the day. Nothing too crazy. And Ravagers will start their way through now. Mule's gonna evaporate as a Ling Ravager gets a bit of a surround on that CC, forces that to lift off. Corrosive Vials will continue through, and a few Thors still getting chipped down here, so GuMiho's numbers, well, dropping a little, but he's got a bit of a push going, guys. He's going to be able to come through this top side, and this is maybe kind of what I was saying. He waited, he defended, he waited for RagnaroK to wear himself down on GuMiho, and now GuMiho sees the opportunity to attack, because this army of RagnaroK's not really gotten any better. And GuMiho clearly quite likes what he's got to work with right now, and I do not disagree with that. you can absolutely see the strength in what he's working with here. So, this Thor's still firing up a little bit here and there. Just going to be seeing Spinecrawler nibbling away, picking away the siege tank and so on. So, little bits of damage being dealt. These Vikings getting rid of every single corruptor too. RagnaroK's still rebuilding. At some point, does this fizzle out for GuMiho? Does he manage to keep on reinforcing this? There's a massive red. That's okay, it's just overlords. Because there's a massive red on that bottom side of the map. I was wondering if that was something suddenly about to arrive, as GuMiho is going to knock RagnaroK down to very few minerals. Another base of RagnaroK goes down on this top side as well, so some mining loss there. Still holds 82 drones and still holding the bottom left side of the map, so shouldn't really have any problems, honestly, but... well, it's never a guarantee, is it? Never really a guarantee. Just going to be seeing the feelings continue to come through. Just going to see our tanks firing up a little bit of a storm. The British sits there, and a little bit of cleanup. Quite a few of these lings going down. Ravager's going to come back around over this direction. He's going to change up their directions as Fukros of Baals drop down onto these Vikings. The Vikings taking a few shots at Overlords. I mean, obviously getting rid of Overlords is very nice as well. It's good to be able to move our way through there. Both drones going down as well, so definitely experience issues here. As RagnaroK definitely has not had the last little while be very fun for him at all. Baals coming down. We will be able to get rid of some of these siege tanks at least. GuMiho in the supply lead right now. This Mech army standing strong enough for him, but he will lose this top right base. He's pushing the bottom left at the same time, so now he's saying, hey, if you go around one way, I'm going to be going the other way, right? That's just going to be kind of a consistent here, so just going to be setting up for that. It's going to be seeing our force continuing to fire. It's going to be seeing 130 SCVs going down, so GuMiho's losing a ton of economy. The thing is, so is RagnaroK, and RagnaroK's going to have the army that kind of needs to rebuild on the back end of this, and that's going to be the problem, right? If he's the one that has to rebuild on the back end of this, he really doesn't want to be the one that's losing out on so much right now. So, definitely a little bit troubling here for RagnaroK because, well, his army kind of just, again, doesn't necessarily trade well in this situation, and that could be, again, problematic. As our Thors come firing, this hatchery will go down. Another base of RagnaroK lost. He'll have production issues as well, more so than just mining issues. GuMiho's going to back it up. He's probably going to want to reinforce this army, get everything together. We're probably looking at a final fight in the near future because there's no way that this game really goes on that much longer in this case, I don't think. I just don't see it, right? Don't see it. Just going to be seeing how things are. Ravager's going to come through. The Thor's already going to be taking some damage. Lings jump on top of and kill off a few of these tanks. And it's actually a good fight for RagnaroK initially, it feels like, because he gets rid of a lot of the tech. GuMiho has some units left over. Can he work his way through with the final couple of Thors? Low HP. Every single unit you lose right now is so valuable. 45 to 30 army supply. Some Hellbats are just going to try and get rid of some of these Ravagers. Well, should have been able to get rid of that one in the back. Does finally. The problem is it's just roaches building here from RagnaroK. I'm not sure he's ever going to get to the numbers he needs to truly deal with this, truly shut this down, or anything of the sorts. I think we've got ourselves a GuMiho win on the board, guys. I mean, there was GuMiho sitting back, having to defend. He had to play this slowly. He really didn't have a choice. He really was the one just being... He was being bullied a little bit. He had a bad early game, right? He took damage. He had to kind of, you know, cuddle up and just start playing defensively, and he did exactly that, and he did it well. And well enough to put himself into a good enough position and into, more or less right now, this spot where, well, yeah, he's nigh on won the game, right? Army supplies are not even close any longer. This isn't even a slight contest. GG's, and that will wrap this up in this game, guys. Wow, what a way to get it all started in this best of 5 final. GuMiho opens with a 1-0 lead, making it happen defensively on ground, as we are in the bottom left corner of the map with our player who is down a game from Alpha X. This is RagnaroK. Taking on the blue Terran play on the other side of the map. It's going to be GuMiho. Get this up and running. Game number 2 of our best of 5 series here. Excited to see what we can get out of this as we continue along. Would be interested as well, see whether we do actually see a second kind of game of mech from GuMiho. Not necessarily in this game now, but like at some point of this series, right? Because obviously he does win a game then with mech, which you gotta say is pretty neat and all of that. That's cool, but mech is not typically, like I say, the go-to. And even for GuMiho, mech is not something he builds into a lot of the time in this day and age in this matchup. So yeah, that has me interested at the very least as to whether it's something, like I say, you just stick to here, or whether that was like a, hey, that was Grezfan, very big map, pretty much the only map I'm going to do that on. Let's now start looking towards some bio play. These barracks are obviously out on the map. It's kind of an interesting position. This game's going to be very interesting, but they are forward. They're not super far forward. They could have been further forward, quite frankly. You know, I think that's pretty fair to say. They could have very easily been much more aggressively placed, honestly. So, yeah. As you see, the first few Marines do begin to line on up out of them. So, first Marines popping out. The Lings continue across the other side. Just going to try and see what they can do. And yo, Insteady, thank you so much for the fresh new sub on the Prime. Thanks for supporting the stream today. Much appreciated. Thank you very much indeed. Alright, first Marine showing up, and RagnaroK, well, fortunately for him, he did go spawning pool first, which enables him to be in a great spot. He's already building a Rotor, and he's already building the Spine Crawl. I mean, this is not going to do much at all for GuMiho. If this does a lot for GuMiho, then he's severely messed up, quite frankly. That's something we're kind of allowed to say, because it is just so set in stone that this shouldn't be good for him. So, this one definitely shouldn't be. So let's just expect this to get cleaned up, I suppose. Well, I guess let's see if GuMiho can maybe make some magic happen to keep himself in this when he shouldn't be kept in this. Going for the Spine Crawler, which is something you don't necessarily need to be kind of in a good, decent spot here. It just helps, right? It makes it easier. If you've got the Spine Crawler, losing out on that is a shame. The Roaches are here, though, and with the Roaches, we really shouldn't have any issue at all with this. This really should be quite a simple cleanup, I say, but, well, we've said that 100 times before and being wrong. But for now, the Roaches do push this back, and yeah, the bunker's still there. The hatchery's still taking damage. I mean, really, against 3 racks, you can lose the hatchery. It's a bit of a shame because it doesn't feel like you necessarily needed to lose the hatchery in this case. I mean, the Marines here have got to continue to target down the hatch, right? They're going for it. They're going for it. Too many Marines going down. The hatchery will not fall. So yeah, even better for RagnaroK to save the hatch as well, as I've just explained. Yeah, okay, guys. I mean, RagnaroK's in a pretty great spot, to be honest with you. He's going to be absolutely loving this position, plain and simple, and it's really, really great for him. I mean, you commit to proxy racks like this as GuMiho, you need damage. Not even getting the hatchery when it gets so close towards the end is really sad. And like I said, I think this one is probably going to be seeing the best of things from this already now. Well, not ideal as we just have a few Roaches counter-attacking. Bunker at the front might be able to survive, and you kind of need to hold this, because if you don't hold this, then you do not have a command center, because that will be cancelled because you're building it in location. So this is a must defense scenario here for GuMiho. He loses the bunker, Was losing the bunker. He does actually have Marines coming in from the flank, so maybe for the moment that does at least scare you into backing away as RagnaroK. So yeah, actually the Marines flanking too pretty well for themselves, and they kind of keep this competitive for a little longer. Six SCVs end up going down. Just going to be seeing our couple Marines. Going to get rid of this overload. That's nice. Obviously, the main thing here, though, is the fact that we're still just kind of alive and kicking with the command center. I really expected that to go down. The Ravagers able to get a couple more units now, but like I say, I mean, this could have been so much worse. I feel like you can't really be complaining too hard. I feel like you just got to look at this right now and say, hey, well, you know, I'm kind of alive, right? Like, that's incredible, no? Yeah, I'm just going to take what you can out of that. Just going to be seeing these Ravagers will eventually get surrounded. This is going to get cleaned up. Just going to be seeing a couple of Ravagers still being chased down to the very end. So again, just little bits and pieces going on. It's going to be seeing link speed on the way as well as we prep for the next stage of this. Going to be seeing this hatchery. Obviously, still low HP. Would love to just see a cheeky little transfusion on that at some point. You know, it'd be kind of nice. It'd be kind of cool. just a little worried about how low that is. But obviously, using that Queen Energy elsewhere right now. I get it. I get it. It's just I'm allowed to be concerned. Okay, the hatchery is a very easy target if GuMiho manages to slip in. And hey, maybe that could be the game changer, right? You know, it's plausible. No, it could be what changes things up a little bit, switches the momentum. I can see it. I can believe it. Lings and Ravagers still producing. A couple Queens popping out in a moment from RagnaroK as well. I mean, 46 drones making units like this. He wants to go for it. He wants to put an end to this game. He wants to really just shut this down and be done with this one. You know, get into the next and just go again. But kind of a little surprised, I guess. I thought he might be a little bit... I thought he might drone up a little further before he kind of, you know, went for this play in particular, so... Anyways, it's going to be seeing how Lings get on top of these Marines. To be fair, it's obviously clearly not a bad call. It's working out. It's working out just fine. It is seemingly going to be enough here. It's going to be seeing how 5 SCVs went down. I mean, doesn't end the game, but... Like I say, I feel like we do enough to be pretty content coming out of this and everything, so it's gotta be something you're somewhat happy with. We got Marines coming forward from GuMiho, who's really gonna try and give it everything he's got, give it every single opportunity to make something of this. Not going to let this go easily, as we're just going to have our units getting set with a little bit more love on them. I'm going to try and drop around and see if this can make perhaps a little bit of a difference here. So let's see. Marines start stemming through in the tank as well. That's going to be seeing a pretty easy shutdown initially, so that doesn't really go very far. And just going to be having our Marines continue to kind of back away for the moment. So yeah, not really a lot gaining. Just going to go after this Overlord now. So we will take a few shots of damage. I mean, RagnaroK's supply block, 65 to 43 workers. The army supply is there for GuMiho. It's just, can he really turn this army supply into something that's truly going to make the difference? I think it's pretty fair to still be skeptical about that, right? You know, this is still a game that should be very much so in RagnaroK's favor, and right now it is, right? There's no line about that. It's just, don't die to this attack, right? TLDR, don't die to this attack in the next few moments, and we are good to go. That's all this is coming down to right here. These few Ravagers will continue to fight. I think, obviously, GuMiho's point of view, this is more or less one of the last attempts he will have. There's not going to be much opportunity left beyond this one. That's going to do it. GG's. And that will wrap us up. So GuMiho does lose out for game 2. Proxy Rax really doesn't go well enough. And obviously finals and everything to play for then. Let's see how we do. In the bottom left, RagnaroK. In the top right, GuMiho. Ancient System to me is a surprisingly large map. I almost felt like this when we did the TLMC on this one and everything as well. I was a little surprised to be like, man, it's this big, because it can feel quite standard, I feel like, when you just kind of have a first glimpse of this map and you start to get a feel like, yeah, it looks pretty standard, stuff. Like, wait, it's how big? Like, how long did it just take me to walk from one side to the other? This map is going to become one of the big macro maps of this map pool, I believe. Going to be a pretty huge factor. I think so, at least. I mean, could be wrong. GuMiho seems to think that he just wants to proxy racks on it, so that's exactly what he will do. Hatchery first this time, at least, from RagnaroK, so that obviously gonna make you a little bit happy, right? And we gotta be kind of okay with that. That's generally good for you compared to the last game at the very least, so get something going for yourself. 3 racks, but the Overlord actually scouts this one very quickly, so RagnaroK's going to instantly start sending the SCVs after the barracks here, and going to start trying to make a play pretty much straight away to try and shut this down, which obviously then really isn't ideal, and maybe we start talking about being in trouble if you are GuMiho. He does finish 2 of the racks already, though, so I guess it wasn't a fast enough of a spot and pull. I guess the barracks are far enough away as well, right? Like, the barracks aren't, like, right next door to you or anything, so kind of cool, I guess. Will drones go down, actually, in this fight? But we do lose some, a Marine so far. Still, Agenti, thank you so much for the 26-month resub. Welcome back, and thanks for the support. Yeah, an interesting little situation, right? Definitely a fun little point of intrigue here. As we'll see, even more drones pulling. We want to try and stop the initial setup going down then on the base, which 100% makes sense, right? Fully understandable. You do not want to have to deal with that or anything, but let's see, man. I mean, we already lost a drone early. We pulled drones as well. These Marines are starting to do a lot, guys. And that's 3 workers now. The Spine Crawler is going up. GuMiho will be able to start getting some damage on that as well, though obviously can't unbutter it while it's still building, so this hatchery is maybe not going to have a spine to protect it. The spine will finish, but it's going to be low HP. I guess you need a transfusion on that spine crawl, and you might be able to get one, so actually that would be huge. That might have just been the save we needed here if you are cheering on RagnaroK in this game. When comes forward, takes a little bit of damage as we go back and forth. Yeah, thank you, ZG, for 77 months. See you, Kata Pizza. Hell yeah. 1 week. Let's go. This time next week, I'll probably be sat in an airport waiting for a flight. Probably delayed, no my luck, but we can pretend that won't happen. We can pretend to be positive. Yeah, very exciting stuff. Kata Pizza, baby, we're back. Marines come through. The Spine Crawler will fall. Queen is in a little bit of trouble. We having the Lings. Gonna come through and just clean it up. So there you have it, guys. How to win a game. Boom. Kill the Marines off because you got tilling speed. And then it becomes very easy for you. Won't lie, kind of was thinking, hoping maybe, possibly this was going to be a little bit more exciting. I kind of thought GuMiho might have had it when he gets the spine down, but it just took him so long, right? And that's what the spine's there for, right? If you can buy time and so on, then you should be able to do very well. Yeah, this was not exactly ideal. He has a 7-worker lead. Why forfeit? Because his natural expansion is going to be cancelled. He has no production structures at home. They're all on these barracks, so he's got nowhere to produce units, so 7 workers means absolutely nothing, because he actually just can't fight his opponent. He actually just can't kill his opponent's units. I mean, you can SCV pull and kind of watch your workers die, I guess. That's what you're into. GG's. RagnaroK gonna go up 2-1 in the best of gods. Up by a map in the bottom right hand side. The red Zerg player, RagnaroK. In the top left, Firestone Gaming's GuMiho down by 1, needs to win this to keep this match alive. Let's see if he will be able to. Let me see now if he drones mine away, having some fun to start out with. Everything getting going here as we establish our game at number 4. No proxy for the first time in a couple of games, right? So GuMiho gonna stay back at home. Is not gonna get as proxy friendly as he did the last couple of maps. And we see that spawning pool coming up. So hatch gas and pool on the way in. To begin with, you're just gonna see that overload coming up the right side and overload around the bottom. Wardy, who's your favorite SE2 casting duo of all time? I have no idea. That's it's a tough question. I actually have no idea. Like, I mean, how do you even answer that? Genuinely, I don't know. I mean, I can tell you who I like casting with, I guess, but generally, I kind of like casting with everyone as well, so I don't know. That's a really tough question. I actually do not have an answer for you. Tastosis, the Muslim and Roddy. Yeah. See, I feel like I struggle to think of these guys in this way, because to me, a lot of these guys are just like my friends and stuff, so I just kind of enjoy listening to them. You know what I mean? I don't really think like, oh yeah, I like listening to these guys the most. Like, I just enjoy listening to everyone usually. I don't know. Good question. Just don't have a good answer for you, sadly. As you have our Reaper getting a little bit of fun going his way, getting some damage dealt. All of this just coming online. As we have our Queen. We come and stay camping out at the front for just a few moments. And see if there is potentially be something more we can do over this next little bit. Reaper gonna get back onto this hatcheries, just being again as annoying as possible in this early game, just scouting around, trying to keep up with info. Just trying to go from there right now. Yeah. Pretty standard stuff for the moment. Let me see, now Reaper is still hitting this hatchery. Will we ever stop this? It's kind of becoming a little bit ridiculous, right? Like, at some point you gotta imagine that it is gonna be halted. And you finally see some Queens getting here to shut that down. So yeah, just the Reaper that I thought he could. Marauders and Hellbats on the way, basically. So we are getting set up very aggressively here. I imagine there's got to be an armory soon, right? It'd be kind of crazy not to build the armory in this situation, but I guess I will hold my breath just in case. Viking looking for that Overlord kill here. And Sugar Teeth, thank you so much for the 50-month resub. You miss your Kit Kat. Honestly, this Kit Kat is absolutely legendary at this point, I feel like. Never heard someone love a Kit Kat so much in their life. Someday, Twitch chat, I might tell you of the legend of this Kit Kat, but unfortunately today is not that day. Roach run coming up. There is the armory, so we are going to turn this into full-on kind of Hellbat Marauder attack, which is, you know, when you go Marauders like this, is kind of the expectation. It would be kind of weird not to be going for the armory in this case, so it kind of makes a lot of sense to get that all started up. Just got our attack coming in, so let's see what GuMiho can do. Let's see if it's enough for him to get into a good little spot here as the Hellions coming forward. Just going to be seeing the Queens having to back it up a little bit. And yeah, I mean, Roaches on the way is going to be a pretty major issue, right? I feel like we're not really kind of designed to deal with Roaches at all with this attack. Like, the Roars can do good against Roaches, but yeah, you're not really wanting to have to deal with Roaches at the end of the day right now. It's just not something you're really aiming for at all, so yeah, this amount of Roaches should be able to clean this up without too many issues, I feel like. And that should mean the end of this attack, and we obviously did do well. We got rid of 6 Queens, which is disruptive. As Medevac survives too, so we still have a Viking overhead also that's not being cleaned up because all the Queens just died. So there's a lot of good here, actually, for, you know, if you're cheering on GuMiho. I wouldn't say this was like everything he was ever hoping and dreaming of, but I'd say it's enough to be kind of pretty content for a little while. We do have this Spore Crawler showing up to try and just add a little bit more into this, and I'm just going to be seeing the Viking again, just going to be trying to get some more damage done. Yeah, I mean, he did okay. It's just the Roaches are still an issue, and I feel like the Roaches can become kind of scary here just on their own accord, so again, maybe some cause for concern during all of this, as we do have our Roaches. Now backing away, the Banshee obviously keeps you safe from at least taking damage to those, so that shouldn't happen or anything. So that's obviously some good news as we continue through. Gonna be having our Banshees still making their way around. Just gonna go and nip out a couple of these drones over on the side, so find some damage over here. Again, 4 workers going down actually is pretty good, so doing pretty well in terms of getting some damage dealt. So we see our Banshees coming in for 7 workers. He's actually doing a lot of damage, to be fair. I mean, this is really adding up a little bit at this point in time, right? More so than you'd probably want it to be if you are RagnaroK. So, yeah, again, a little bit unfortunate as RagnaroK here. I mean, I say unfortunate, kind of on him, some of the damage he's taken, right? I mean, he saw these Banshees a while ago and has not really done anything to improve his position against them, was not quite prepared enough. That's just something you have to be a bit better at in these cases. Otherwise, you are going to take damage like this. You are going to end up in some rough positions. And you're just going to end up in trouble sometimes, so a little unfortunate, but it's the truth of it. Do you have a Spire coming through? And +1 missiles, +1 carapace, all on the way up as well. Roach speed still taking on into play. Seeing these Hellions darting in and try and get a little bit more done themselves, just trying to be a little annoying here. Yeah, seeing a few kills going down. Just going to be seeing the Roach is able to chase this off. That's the problem with these Roaches, right? They're just going to say, nah, the majority of damage you want to try and get done here as the, the majority of damage you want to try and get done here as the Terran player. The Roaches are just going to be very good against you defensively, so you're going to hit a little bit of a brick wall when it comes to that. You know, just flying around, obviously trying to find an opening. And obviously if these mirrors can do enough, then you can follow up with the, you can also follow up with like a big Roach attack. I guess kind of, I mean, obviously this is defending, but the idea is just the, you know, the possibility of saying, hey, look, like, you know, the meters kind of cause this much of a distraction. Right now, they're shutting down reinforcements, so they're doing a really great job. Actually, love what these meters just did, no? That was really good. See me just showing up, going to start going after some of these SCVs. But yeah, I mean, if the mirrors can cause enough distraction, then obviously a mass up of roaches and just kind of going all in with those is then going to be very powerful. And that's a lot of the time what you see. Obviously, in this case, GuMiho was kind of moving out himself, which I feel like puts him into a very weird and tough position to play from. Because he's kind of, he's making his own life more difficult than it needs to be, and that becomes the whole thing, and that becomes a problem, and then you just have that kind of knock-on effect from there. So now these roaches and ravagers do start to show up. Let's see what they can do. Let's see if they can find some love. And as you see, Bioforce standing strong, trying to hold this position, trying to hold this down. Marines and Auroras continuing around as well. So maybe seeing our roaches and rabbits continue to fight, SCVs continue to drop, and good amount of damage still being done for the most part here. So damage being dealt, damage adding up. 17 workers down. GuMiho in some trouble. I'm just going to see this Roach Ravager force continuing to come on through. I'm not sure if GuMiho is ever going to quite get a hold. Probably. The two Thors are pretty hard to get through, I guess. So without being able to chew through those easily, you probably are going to be able to push this back. Just definitely not ideal, definitely not the prettiest of situations, games, or whatever else you want to call it. Let me just come back in and harass as well, so still just being annoying with those and still just trying to find those little extra bits of value whenever possible. Some more Roach Ravager comes back in. Older Command will take a few shots of damage. Yeah, will not really do too much straight away. Just gonna get the bio to, again, just push this back to at least extending our life in this game as GuMiho. We're not dying just yet. And to be fair, if, RagnaroK kind of gets stuck on just Roach Ravager, it's plausible that just holding off a few times over could be enough to put GuMiho into a good enough spot, right? So, into something playable, into something that could work out well for him. So, yeah, a little bit cause for concern perhaps for RagnaroK that he's maybe not completely overwhelming just now, and this could become problematic, I guess, given a little bit more time. Bio continues through and it's just a little bit extra. We see a few Marines coming in, those mutants getting chased away. You just want to try and hit the main base again. I mean, the more you use these mutants, the more value you get out of them, the tougher this becomes for GuMiho, especially if you can just pick up a few more workers, because GuMiho's in that kind of position where a few workers is actually quite expensive for him right now to be losing out on, right? So, it's definitely getting to that kind of point where it is becoming a problem, it is becoming an issue. These expenses are becoming truly expensive. And as you can see, GuMiho's supply really is not that bad when you look at it, right? I mean, 158 to 178. Yeah, the SCV count's maybe not quite what you usually want the SCV count to be, but come on. Not bad, right? It's pretty reasonable for GuMiho. It's doable, with another decent fight or so to help buff him up or power him up into it. Absolutely super doable. 100%. Roach Ravager coming along and trying to get involved. Like I say, I mean, we're on the way to the hive, so we are attacking up at least. There's eventually a, final game planning here, I suppose, that will come on by. Stems in, this hatchery going to be immediately in trouble, immediately taking some hits, taking some shots. I mean, this is the kind of the big push you need to be able to stop then, so let's see if we can stop it, let's see if we can do that. And it's going to be seeing the medevac's going to load up, going to see a big dive into the base here. Ooh, kind of fun, no? Kind of like it. That's kind of a cool little play. Yeah, very funky. I like it a lot. Just going to be seeing this army now has to run up in an awkward direction then for RagnaroK. So RagnaroK definitely runs into a little bit, a little bit of trouble here. This definitely has him a little bit kind of tested and has him a little bit more on the run than I feel like he ever really wanted to have been. That was a very fun attempt. It's just going to be seeing GuMiho. Supply is still kind of trailing, and I think overall economy is still a big issue for him, obviously. It's definitely going to be one of the reasons why he just can't quite ever truly recover from this, but GG's, RagnaroK is going to take it. He's going to win this 3-1. He's going to knock this one down.